So for this video, I want to introduce you guys to a brand new original book tag. And I'm going to be calling this the Would You Rather book tag Impossible Edition. Mwahahaha. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would say a lot of these questions are difficult, especially for the BookTube community. And there's 10 questions here. I'm going to tag some people at the end to try to get it going around here. And yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys pick. If you have, I will just say, if you have a BookTube channel and you want to go ahead and do this, go and do it. If you want to comment down below your answers, please let me know down in the comments below. But we're just going to go ahead and get started. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So question number 1, would you rather only be able to reread your favorite book once every 10 years or be forced to reread your least favorite book once a year? So for me, this is hard because I love to reread. I love to reread my favorite books. And yeah, so having to wait, potentially 10 years to reread some of my favorites, that would suck. But also, it would really suck to have to reread your favorite book once a year. Like, imagine like the book that you just hated. Like your 1 star, like this is awful. You have to read that once a year. Or you have to be forced to only reread your favorite books once every 10 years. I guess for me, I would go with that one because I just really don't want to have to reread my favorite book, or my least favorite book, that is. So that would be my option, but definitely let me know what you think. And question number 2, would you rather be forced to get rid of all of your books by your favorite author or get rid of your entire library besides your favorite author? So for me, this would be difficult because I do have a lot of books and my favorite author is George R.R. Martin. So if I had to get rid of all of my books besides George, that's a lot of books. But also getting rid of all of my books by George, he's my favorite author, that would hurt. And also a lot of those, yeah, I think I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of all of my other books besides George. And I'm going to keep George mainly because a lot of the books were hard to come by. A lot of his books are out of print. So it took a while to actually be able to get all of them. Whereas all my other books, none of them are like special editions or none of them are like really that hard to find. They're very replaceable. Even like my King's Shelf, like almost all of those books are just used copies at this point. So definitely easier to just get rid of those books and just eventually replace them. I'm going to keep my George books because some of them were harder to get. And question number 3, this might be one of the hardest questions on here. Would you rather only be able to read very short books, so like less than 300-page books, or very long books, so 700 pages or longer? So this is tough because, I guess it depends on what genres you read the most. So if you're like a horror thriller kind of reader, you would tend to pick like the shorter stuff because a lot of those tend to be shorter. Maybe if you're an epic fantasy lover and sci-fi lover and just you love big books, like you maybe go with that one. But for someone like me, and I know for a lot of y'all out there, y'all tend to read both. So it's really hard to read, or it's really hard to pick like which one. And I'm struggling at the moment to pick which one that I would go with. I think for me, ultimately, I would go with longer, just because the books that I tend to reread the most are kind of like epic fantasy series. So like A Song of Ice and Fire and Stormlight Archive, like I would be able to reread all of those, right? So yeah, I guess I would go with longer, but yeah, it's a very tough decision. Definitely let me know what y'all think. And question number 4, would you rather your favorite series get a terrible adaptation or never be adapted? So there's a lot of instances where like fans really want an adaptation. They're like, oh man, I've been dying for one for years. And then they eventually get one and they're like, oh, this is not what I wanted it to be. Rah, 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 rah. So I think it's always interesting, that fine line of like, is it fine if it just never gets an adaptation? Or like, do you really want one and then risk it being kind of bad? Like I know a lot of people didn't like the Wheel of Time adaptation. So, would you rather that or just not have one? I think for me, I would just not have one. Like, I mean, obviously, A Song of Ice and Fire has one, and like the first 4 seasons are great, but then the ending isn't very good. It would be interesting to see what a Stormlight adaptation would look like. I think, I don't know. Yeah, for me, I think I would just rather it not get adapted because the chances of it being adapted poorly seem to be very high. So that's my answer. I would just rather not see it get adapted. And number 5, would you rather an unfinished series have a terrible ending or remain unfinished forever? And of course, this is applicable to a lot of my favorite series: A Song of Ice and Fire and Loch Lamora, Gentlemen Bastards. You know, will they ever be finished? I don't know. But at the same time, like, I don't really want anybody to step in and potentially ruin it. But at the same time, I know a lot of, well, the only one that I really know is Wheel of Time. I know some people didn't like the way that Sanderson ended it, but I know a lot of people say that the Sanderson books are really good. So, you know, kind of a fine line there. I think personally, I would just rather it be unfinished. At this point, like, are we ever going to get Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring? I don't know. But for me, it's still my favorite, even without having that true ending. The first 5 books are all 5 stars for me. I will reread those forever and ever. Still my favorite. So, yeah, I would say leave it unfinished forever, but I'm definitely interested to see what you guys think. And question number 6, would you rather cut your reading time in half or cut your book buying budget in half? Now, I know for a lot of people, Andrew, they would have a hard time cutting their book buying budget in half. For me, cutting my reading time in half would kind of suck because I tend to read a lot of books. Like, I normally read about 100, 120 or more books a year. So really cutting that in half, oh man, that would just suck. And I've been better, especially, you know, with my wife, Stacy. She's been definitely showing me some good options of like using Libby, using Everend, of not, you know, buying new release books, like at least waiting until they come out in paperback. Like, we've been saving a lot of money on books just because she's been around and definitely helping me out, not buying or not spending a lot of money. So I would say cutting my book buying budget in half would be fine, but I really do not want to cut into my reading time. Question number 7, I think, is just really funny. Would you rather be forced to listen to audiobooks at 3 times speed or audiobooks at half-time speed? So for me, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. When I first read audiobooks, I didn't even really know that you could speed them up. I would always listen at just 1 time speed. But then once I figured out, like, oh, you can speed these up, I've just become faster and faster. Normally, I am at around like 1.8 to 2 times speed, so somewhere in that range. I'm nowhere near 3 times speed, though. That would just... I think I would eventually get used to it, but at that point, it just sounds like... So, you know, it's a little too fast for me, but I think I would ultimately go with that, though, just because I'm sure I would be able to get used to it, and I know I would not be able to get used to half-time speed, because that is just so slow. Like, it would be that slow. Because audiobooks at 1 time speed are already very slow, so half-time speed would not be a good decision. So, you know, 3 times speed would take a lot of getting used to, but it would definitely be a better option than half-time speed, at least for me. Definitely let me know what y'all think. This next one is definitely applicable to a lot of readers out there. Would you rather only be able to read physically or only be able to listen to audiobooks? Now, for me, when I first started reading, it was basically all physical reading. I wasn't really into audiobooks, but then when I got into audiobooks, it made it a lot easier for me to read more and to read more efficiently. So nowadays, I'm reading probably like 80 to 90% audiobooks. I still read physically every now and then, but it's mostly audiobooks, the way that I'm able to get through so many books. So for me, it's pretty easy. Like, I'll go with audiobooks all day. If I only had to read physically, I would definitely not be able to read as many books. So audiobooks for me, but definitely let me know. I know there's a lot of people who don't listen to audiobooks, or they just prefer physical books. Like they'll maybe dabble in audiobooks, but normally they just like physical books. So it'll be interesting to see down in the comments which one kind of wins out here. So comment down below, physical or audio, which do you prefer? This is another fun question. Number 9, would you rather be stuck reading a mix of 3 to 4 star reads, or a mix of 1 and 5 star reads? So basically, would you rather read a bunch of middling books, like books that are okay and pretty good? Like you're always going to give them somewhere between 3 and 4 stars, but they're never like a new favorite, and they're never like really bad books. Or on the flip side, would you only want to read like new favorites, like they're so good, 5 stars, and 1 star books? These are awful, the worst books you've ever read. For me, as long as I have a hope of having a new favorite, that's what I'm going to go with. So I would go with 1 and 5 stars. And actually, funnily enough, this year I've only given 1 book 5 star, and a lot of my books have been kind of like 3 and 4 stars this year. Or a lot of them have been like 4.5 stars, but for me, I just want some more 5 star reads. So even though I'd be stuck reading some really bad books, I know I would be getting a lot of 5 star books, and then I could just reread those over and over again. Being stuck with reading only 3 and 4 star books just seems like these books are good, but they're never like really good. You're never gonna get a new favorite. So I'm definitely interested to see what y'all think, though. Like maybe y'all are like, I don't want to read any 1 star books. This is awful. So definitely comment down below which you would rather do. And the last question I have for y'all, number 10, would you rather only watch your favorite booktuber, or watch everyone besides your favorite booktuber? So if you have a favorite booktuber, you would either only be able to watch them, nobody else, or watch everyone besides your favorite booktuber. I guess this really depends on who your favorite booktuber is and if they're still regularly uploading. So probably my favorite booktuber is Jessie May. You know, I've watched a lot of her videos, but recently she hasn't been uploading very regularly, which is understandable because she's like a new mom and dealing with all of that. But yeah, I love her channel, but she's, you know, not uploading regularly. So for me, it would be pretty easy. I would watch everyone else because there's a lot of great booktubers out there that I love to watch regularly. So for me, that's what I would go with. But I know probably some of y'all maybe have like that 1 or 2 booktubers that you watch like a lot and you watch all their stuff. Maybe it's me. Probably not, but you know, you never know. But yeah, that's what I would go with. I would just watch everyone besides Jessie May, but definitely let me know what y'all think. All right, so that is my original book tag, the Would You Rather book tag, Impossible Edition. Is it really impossible to answer these questions? Maybe some of them, because some of them are very hard for me. But definitely interested to see what you guys think. And I'm going to go ahead and tag some people. I'm going to go ahead and, of course, tag my wife, Stacy. If you don't know, she actually just started her channel, The Chapter Conundrum. So definitely go check her out below. She's already a natural. And yeah, so definitely check her out. I tag her. She already knows about it. I'm going to go ahead and tag Bookish Chaz. So definitely check out his channel. I'm going to go ahead and tag Boiled Jellyfish. Definitely check him out down below. I'm going to go ahead and tag Nico's Book Reviews. Check him out too, who is one of our captains for Battle of the Bands Readathon. He's a regular, so definitely check him out. And another captain who's a regular for Battle of the Bands, Nala. Go check out her channel. Here there be stories. I'm going to tag all of those lovely people, and hopefully y'all have the time to get the word out on this tag. And definitely, if I didn't tag you and you're interested in doing this, definitely do it down below. I will watch it, and it'll be a lot of fun. And if you're in the comments and you don't have a BookTube channel, just comment down below your answers. I'm definitely interested to get everyone's takes on all these questions. So yeah, that's the Would You Rather book tag Impossible Edition, the original video. So definitely let me know what y'all think. and like and subscribe, and I'm definitely interested to get y'all's takes on everything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.